Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Game Week 12 League 1 review. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 100 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on how your team got on over this weekend. Obviously, there was only 7 games because of the international break, but even if your team didn't play, how was the league table affected by that? Let's waste no further time and get straight into it. We'll start out firstly then with the Saturday 2 o'clock kickoff between Northampton Town and Rotherham United. The Millers coming away from this game with a very important 2-1 victory. The scoring was opened by the Cobblers on 26 minutes through a penalty from Sam Hoskins. Well converted, but I've seen there's been a lot of question marks over whether it actually was a penalty offence. It certainly does seem very harsh, but nonetheless well converted by Hoskins. Into the second half, the equaliser is actually a very well worked goal by Rotherham, considering how poor I think they have been for the large part this season. The last 2 matches that they've played, they've actually scored some pretty nice goals, eventually finished off by former Portsmouth man Joe Rafferty. And I thought it was quite interesting to see that when they got the equaliser in the 71st minute away from home, that their reaction wasn't to go and celebrate with the fans. It was get the ball, get back on the halfway line and try and win this match. And that is what they did in the 87th minute. Josh Benson with a free kick, a good free kick, but not a great free kick. I think it's certainly gone in the back of the net more because of how poorly the Northampton wall was set up. It was absolutely awfully arranged. Only 4 men in the wall, but just not covering the post anywhere near enough. And Benson, all he has to do then is not even really curl it around the wall. It's just awfully set up, but nonetheless a good finish from him. And he's always been a man that's got quality at this level, but just struggled with injuries for the large part. I managed to catch little bits of this game, but looking at the stats, it seemed like a pretty comfortably deserved win really for Rotherham. Even in the first half, the Millers probably were the better side, but if you're Northampton to only have 3 shots, only 1 on target at home, not really good enough, especially against a fellow potential relegation rival. Looking at the league table then and what it does for both of these sides, obviously Northampton have still been on a decent run, 7 points picked up out of their last 5 matches, still a pretty decent return, but it is now only 1 win in their last 4 after being on such a good run. And obviously they've conceded a couple in here. They've conceded a 5th of their total goal tally this season in this match alone. Big win for Rotherham, only their 3rd of the season, and obviously it's kept them within touching distance of getting out of that drop zone. But after being on a horrendous run of form, to get a couple of goals against Bradford, to get a couple in this one and win against a team that don't really concede much, it's certainly very positive signs for the Millers, which have not, you can't really say that about Rotherham much so far this campaign, but things are certainly starting to look up based on the last 2 matches. They need to build on it now and go again in the next game. Wimbledon won, Port Vale won. This game certainly came alive late on in this one. Antoine Hackford, the man who was on loan at Port Vale at last campaign, scoring the opener after 72 minutes for the Wombles. Absolutely awful defending from Connor Hall. I thought he was a bang average League 2 defender and he's made a big mistake there. Very good finish to be fair, still had to work hard to find the back of the net, but Port Vale would equalise in the 86th minute. I think it's Connor Hall who actually does quite well, and Alistair Smith just basically falls over his own feet. Hall then floats the ball in. I think it's Jaden Stockley who heads towards goal and Nathan Bishop just parries it straight into the path of Devante Cole to tap it into the back of the net. I'm surprised by how poor of a start that Nathan Bishop has had to life at this level, because I was very impressed with him a couple of years ago on loan at Mansfield Town, but since then he's not been amazing so far this season. He has made a fair few errors and it was another big one in this game. In terms of Devante Cole, so far this campaign, 4 goals and 1 assist in his opening 6 appearances so far this campaign. He's had a great start to life at Port Vale, but then after that both of these sides had some good chances. Wimbledon had 1 cleared off the line. It was some late scrappy drama in the Wimbledon penalty area when Port Vale were attacking as well. It certainly came alive after that goal, but a point apiece was going to have to be shared in the end. Looking at the stats, Port Vale clearly the better side in this game. You know that traditionally Wimbledon are not really going to have the stats by most matches, but they're effective, they get results, and this is another solid point. Both of these sides have been on decent runs recently. Obviously Wimbledon is still 5th in the table. It's, I want to say, 13 points picked up out of their last 5 matches, which is a very, very good return. They're 5th in the table. Yes, a lot of teams around them have now got 1 or 2 games in hand, but another good point on the board for Wimbledon. But a great point with Port Vale being the away side, scoring so late on as well. I think they'll certainly be the happier of the 2 sides. But again, looking at the stats, could you maybe argue that Port Vale did deserve more? They're also 5 games unbeaten. They've picked up 11 points out of their last 5 matches as well. Both of these sides are on a very good run of form and probably will be quite happy with the point. Burton 3, Bolton 0 was certainly a shock result of the weekend. I don't think many people would have expected this result, with the Brewers obviously sat in the relegation zone prior to kick-off. Bolton being one of the pre-season promotion favourites, and I know they're the away side, but again with Bolton just not working consistently for them as of right now. The scoring was opened on 27 minutes through Jake Beasley. I don't think the Bolton defender can really have many complaints about that, and very well converted by Beasley, sending Sharman Lowe the wrong way. Just 3 minutes into the second half, Fabio Tavares, a man who I think was on loan with the club last campaign, with an excellent finish, kept his composure inside the penalty area, and despite his first shot being saved, scored with the second bite of the cherry. And then the scoring was wrapped up in the 94th minute. Again, some good composure from Jake Beasley. Awful goalkeeping from Teddy Sharman Lowe. I said at the time I thought he was an okay League 2 goalkeeper, and I was incredibly surprised that he got the step up into League 1, never mind with Bolton Wanderers, and that is a big error from him there. But a massive 3 points for Bolton. They didn't get any 3 points, did they? A big 3 points of Burton though, nonetheless. And again, all the stats are pretty much in favour of Bolton, but they've come away from the game with a 3-0 defeat. Something has to change. You can't keep on paper playing well and not getting the results. For a club as big as Bolton are, they need to start just turning some of these good performances into wins, and I don't really know how you do that. I think they've got a really good manager in Stephen Schumacher. They've obviously got a very good squad as well. You know, a lot of money has been spent on this team. Bolton fans, you'll have to let me know your thoughts down below. What is the problem? Why is it not working for you so far this campaign? I know Sam Dolby missed 2 very good opportunities in that first half as well. But looking at the league table, as for Bolton, just 2 wins in their last 5, just 1 win in their last 3, 2 defeats in the last 3. It's not looking great for the Trotters at the moment. They're 4 points off the playoffs, having played a game more. It's not looking good for them whatsoever. But again, a season isn't done after 12 games. They've certainly got the players in that squad to go bang, bang, bang and win 6 or 7 games in a row. But that's what they need to start doing. It's all well and good as sort of pundits saying that. I wouldn't really call myself a pundit, you know, just a man with an opinion, really. And I guess even that, you know, you might even disagree with my opinion. But regardless of my point, Bolton needs to start winning football matches. As for Burton, what a run they've been on. Just 1 defeat in their last 5. They've picked up 8 points out of their last 5 matches, which is certainly a very good return. They've slowly started to pick things up recently. They're now out of the relegation zone, and that is a massive 3 points for them. 3 goals scored as well. They've only scored 10 all season, and 3 of them came in this one. Exeter 1, Reading 1. The scoring was opened on 6 minutes by Jack Marriott. A big mistake from the Exeter centre-half. It was Yefeko who just heads the ball straight into the path of Jack Marriott, and he perfectly times a volley through the legs, I think, of Joe Whitworth. Their lead would only last 5 minutes. Some nice play from Exeter down the right-hand side. Ball comes across the box, and there is Wareham, his first name being Jordan? Jaden. I was close. He obviously has taken the number 9 shirt Exeter this season, which obviously means quite a lot to that football club, and he's got 3 goals and 1 assist in his opening 12 matches. Obviously, former Reading man, he gave it a bit to their crowd as well. I think the Reading fans are not particularly a big fan of his dad, but in the end, a game of not really a lot else that happened. Either side had the odd half chance, but nothing really clear cut. In all honesty, it looked like a bit of a nothing game, and it finished 1 apiece in the end. Again, I think both sides will be relatively pleased with this point. Exeter obviously being the home side, but against a team that were fancied at the start of the season to maybe finish in that top 6. Reading being the away side. Exeter can be a tricky place to go. Long travel. It is obviously now 4 games unbeaten at Fort Reading, but only 1 win in at that time. Exeter, they've picked up 4 points out of their last 2 matches as well. It's positive signs for both of these sides, but come the end of the season, maybe we could be looking back and going, that's the game where if they'd have won, they might have stayed up this season. Who knows? I think Reading will be fine though come the end of it. I say that, there's only 2 points now between themselves in these 2 teams, if that makes sense. Leyton Orient 4, Doncaster Rovers 0. Donny embarrassed again, and they still haven't won since their cup final victory against Bradford City. I'm pretty sure, is it Dom Ballard or Dan Ballard? It's important. It's Dom Ballard. Yes, it's important that I get this correct before I do proceed. With a hat-trick in this one, he opened the scoring on at 2 minutes. Really poor touch from Conor O'Riordan, and Ballard carries the ball and a brilliant finish right into the bottom corner. Aaron Connolly made it 2 after 27 minutes. Short corner was worked to the former Brighton man, and he kind of did a cross-come shot. I think it's more of a shot than a cross, but it's across the body. His keeper's a bit wrong-sighted, and eventually it goes all the way through. Into the second half, just 4 minutes in, the Orient goalkeeper was not Tommy Simkin for this game, and what a surprise, they've kept a clean sheet. Ball is punted down the pitch, and Ballard just gets in between the defender and goalkeeper after Jay McGrath is an absolute meal of it, and then obviously Ballard just rolls the ball into an empty net, but awful defending from Jay McGrath. And then obviously the scoring was completed on 72 minutes. Again, some brilliant play from Aaron Connolly down the left-hand side. Maybe question marks, did the ball go out of play or not? But nonetheless, Doncaster have got to be defending that so much better. And then they got one booking in the entire match. They just look so soft, and like Grant McCann said a couple of times, just powder puff, so easy to play through. Jordan Gibson subbed off at half-time. That sums up his season so far when he's not playing against Bradford City. In terms of the stats, Doncaster weren't actually that bad. I watched the second half of this game and they did create some decent opportunities. Billy Sharp had a good chance and I thought he was comfortably Donny's best player. I mean, that guy's about 57. I think some of the Doncaster players certainly need to be looking at themselves in the mirror. But Leyton Orient, I've said for a long time, Richie Wellens is top 3 managers in this division, and you give him time, he'll turn things back around again, as we saw last season. He's turned Don Ballard into wine, and he must be one of the top goal scorers in the division already so far this season. We can't actually see on there, but how many goals has Ballard got so far this campaign? He's got 6 goals in 6 matches after only getting 2 in 17 last campaign. That is the Richie Wellens effect, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of the league table then, Doncaster still in 10th, but obviously they've played a lot more matches than a lot of teams around them. They've only picked up 1 point out of their last 15 points available. That is nowhere near good enough. They are slowly sliding down that league table, reminding me very much of Mansfield from last campaign, but at least Mansfield got until around January when they've been on a great run and then fell off. Doncaster have fallen off in the middle of September. As for Orient, their first win in a long time, first clean sheet in a long time as well, and again that comes from Tommy Simkin not being in the goal for me, but a brilliant win for them and they'll be hoping to kick on now, and I think under Richie Wellens the sky is the limit for them. I just want to check, was Simkin injured for this game or was he just dropped? If you have a look down at the bench, there was no Tommy Simkin in the squad, so maybe injured, which is probably a good thing for the O's really. Stockport 1, Blackpool 0. The only goal of the game had been scored by Joe Olowu. I'm pretty sure a corner comes into the box. Blackpool fail to deal with it. Corey O'Keefe with the looping header back towards goal, and Joe Olowu just rises above Blackpool's number 4 to head into the back of the net, and that was all she wrote. Both of these sides had some decent chances in the game, forced some pretty decent saves from either goalkeeper as well. Odin Bailey just before the Stockport goal forced a really good save from the Blackpool goalkeeper, and in the end it's job done for Stockport. These are the sort of games that you have to turn them into wins. It reminded me very much of Blackpool's 1-0 defeat away at Bradford a couple of weeks ago, where the home side were very dominant in the game but only managed to get the 1 goal. And I do think there's some good players in this Blackpool squad, but it's just not clicking for them at the moment. Obviously, I don't think they've appointed a new manager since the sacking of Steve Bruce. So again, you've made the decision to sack a manager without a contingency plan already in there. Stockport up to 4th. They've had question marks of inconsistency recently, but it's 10 points picked up from their last 12 points available. So they've certainly picked things up. Only 2 defeats all campaign for them. Obviously, one of them against my team at Bradford City. In terms of Blackpool, still second bottom in the table and just 1 point picked up from their last 4 matches. Thing needs to change, and they need to change quick, as obviously they've played a game more than a lot of teams in this division, in some cases 2 games more, and they are now 4 points from safety already. Just 2 wins all campaign, only 10 goals scored, 20 conceded, which is the second most in the entire division. They need to be better all over the park. They need a new manager, they need it quick. Could that man be Leyton Orient? Could it be Richie Wellens of Leyton Orient? No, I've said it completely wrong. Let me try that again. Could it be Richie Wellens of Leyton Orient? We got there in the end. Wigan 0, Wycombe 1 is where we will finish today's video, and I'm pretty sure I got this prediction absolutely spot on. Wigan have been pretty solid at home so far this campaign. Wycombe had been awful on the road, and they come away from the match with a 1-0 victory. The only goal of the game being scored by, I think, is it Sam Bell? Is it Sam Bell? It is. It's Sam Bell. I've got that one absolutely spot on. Extra 3 points for me on that one. He scored the only goal of the game. Some nice play from Fred Onyedimya down at the right-hand side. He rolls the ball across the face of goal, and Belly's just there, completely unmarked at the back post. We saw Wigan make 3 changes at the break. Darragh Costello came on and could have had a hat-trick. Probably should have had at least 2 in that game. He missed some absolute sitters in that one. But again, Wigan have had some really good chances, but just not quite managed to get over the line. And I think that's very telling of to where their squad is at this moment in time. Defensively, not really giving up that much, but going forward, even when they are creating the odd chance, they're just not being clinical enough. And I felt like with a front line of Paul Mullin and Dara Costello, but maybe excluding Christian Sadie, even though he's not really a goal scorer, there's just not enough goals in that Wigan team, I wouldn't say. I think Fraser Murray's had a great start to the season, but it is now 3 defeats and a draw in their last 4 matches. They're only outside the relegation zone now by 2 points, having played a game more than a lot of teams. Whereas you look at Wycombe, since Michael Duff has come in, it's 2 wins, a draw and a defeat, so 7 points from his opening 4 matches is a much better return than what Michael Dodds was on track to achieve come the end of the campaign. They're now creating themselves a little bit of distance between themselves and the relegation places, and obviously Wycombe are starting to look up, Wigan are starting to look down, and I'd maybe have my eye on Wigan come the end of the campaign because I'm not sure there's enough goals. If they sell Sam Tickle in January, for example, Wigan could be in big trouble, I think. We'll have a quick summary. We'll start out at the bottom. Peterborough still bottom of the league, having not played over the weekend. Blackpool still in the relegation zone and lost again. Rotherham and Reading complete the bottom 4. Then above that, we had some big wins for Burton and Wycombe. Plymouth obviously didn't play, but a defeat for Wigan. Then you got the likes of Exeter, Port Vale, Northampton and Orient completing the bottom half. Mansfield and Luton didn't play. Doncaster continued their poor run of form, as Barnsley also did not play, but they have been on a recent poor run and they go away to Bradford on Saturday. Bolton lost again. Huddersfield didn't play. Same can be said about Lincoln. Wimbledon continued their unbeaten run, as did Stockport. Then the top 3 of Cardiff, Bradford and Stevenage all did not play over the weekend. So my Bradford City still holding strong up in 2nd place, but a very tough game at home to Barnsley at the weekend. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 100 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on how your team got on over this weekend. And if your team didn't play, let me know your thoughts on England's performance against Wales the other night as well. I guess that's probably all we've got left to say. We'll obviously be back for the Game Week 13 score predictions on Thursday. But until then, thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you very soon for another one.